All right, guys, welcome to Restorative Yoga. As you can see, if I mentioned the props, I got pillows, bolsters, straps, blocks, and I actually have, I haven't broke these out, but they're sandbags. They're a true restorative yoga prop. A couple sandbags, cheap on the internet. You fill them up with sand, you got some nice weights when you're doing some stretches. So listen, guys, we're gonna start in a different way tonight. We're gonna start laying down on the chest. Okay, so it's called downward facing meditation or pranam. Now, one of the classic styles is arms forward like this, and you kind of turn an ear down. Now, if there's any pain in the back, guys, you got to either touch your big toes together, let your heels fall open, or if there's pain in your back, what you got to kind of do is set up a bolster and keep your feet lifted. So that is like a really restorative version. Now, I want you to meditate here. I'm going to start the clock in about 10 seconds here. We're going to go 5 minutes. First pose. A lot of people like lay on their stomach. It's very grounding. When you lay here, you feel closer to the earth. So you could reach your arms forward. You're going to get to your underarms. You could bring your arms down by side, palms face up. You could turn an ear down or chin forward, okay? You could also create a little pillow. You're on the clock. I want you to relax and close your eyes. First position. We're practicing resting to start. Yogis, we know that all of your protein synthesis happens in rest. Doesn't matter how much protein you eat, how much when you work out, you build new muscle and new bone and pretty much all tissues in sleep. 99.8% in rest. New brain cells. Your brain cleanses 99.9% in rest. So we're giving our body the conditions to heal. We want to make it feel good. We want to have a little bit of release so we get some of those nice kind of chemical responses. Maybe take a nice deep inhale in your nose now. Side out the mouth. And maybe take a few more like that. Try to breathe in a way where it intuitively feels relaxing, healing. Try to let your bones get heavy, okay? So we are just resting here, guys. We're not doing much effort. We're trying to get comfortable and melt into the position. Got about 3 minutes, 45 seconds left. Some simple deep breaths, and then even letting your breath relax. If your head is turned to one direction, make sure you do the other. Bring the other ear down. Your goal is just to relax, yogis. Use this as an opportunity to meditate, to work on the subtle self-awareness, to become more aware of the subtle body. The beating of the heart, the pulsing of energy and blood flow. Connect, yogis. Tune in. Feel the subtle sensations. If you're just joining, we only have about less than a minute left here, but our first position was just called downward facing meditation or pranam, the shavasana. You can see I have my ankles lifted, the bolster or pillow, and we're kind of hanging out here or here. So we're going for a 5-minute hold, okay? Don't worry, the next posture is also restful to start, okay? Now listen, yogis, our next position, don't waste energy, just go right to your child pose. If you do have your bolster under your feet, let's release it, please. We are gonna widen the knees, big toes touch, forehead on the mat, arms reach forward. Second position, this is a 5-minute hold. We'll do a minute and a half in the center, and then I'll give subtle options. But for now, try to just melt, buttocks towards your heels, forehead toward the mat. Just, maybe wiggle a little side to side, let the abdomen drape between the thighs. Maybe a couple of deep breaths here into the underarms. Give your body the space to heal. You are reprogramming the nervous system right now. When you stress, you're programming your nervous system in a certain way. And when you relax, feel good, laugh, you are programming it the other way. If you just joining, we started like this for a 5-minute hold. Feet lifted, chest downward, relaxing. Now we're in our second position, child pose. Very classic restorative yoga start here. Relaxing here. So the first 10 minutes, yogis, very passive, soft, relaxing. Now in child pose, a subtle add-on here. Walk my hands over to the right. Relaxing here. Good 20, 30 seconds. Now right from here, another little option. You might have to, adjust out of it a little bit. Left arm underneath right armpit. So you're still in child pose, guys. Okay. Left arm underneath right armpit. The left ear kind of head comes down. Couple breaths. Just as I'm asking you to be relaxed, patient, slow in the body, similar with the mind. So it is a practice of patience. Okay. Try to look for the majesty in the subtle experience. Not easy thing to kind of instruct. Okay. We'll come back to center and child pose. We'll walk our hands to the left. So about a 5-minute total hold here. You got less than 2 minutes already. So my hands are over to the left, kind of in a little side bend. Maybe breathing into my right side body now. Maybe adding on, right arm underneath left armpit. Right ear down, see if you can relax into it. So you're in child pose with the thread, the needle, okay? Please take your time, yogis. Nice job. That's 5 minutes on my clock. Let's keep going. Back to center. And we're going to rise up, taking our first light movement. Now remember, our intention is restful body. Okay, so let's take it easy now. Inhale, arch the back for our cow pose. Exhale. First week, we're really doing the cat-cow and restorative. But it is very healing movement. Okay. Exhale, everyone in class knows the cat-cow. You're stretching and lightly activating, moving and breathing a little bit. Remember, the neck is a big part of this. Chin tucking on the exhale, chin going forward and maybe up a little on the inhale, okay? Last few. I like to even rotate my arms a little bit, okay? I like to draw circles with my pelvis. It's just a moment, 10-minute hold, okay, relaxing, and then a little movement, just to increase a little blood flow, okay? Draw little circles. Might feel good to even, roll out an ankle. See how I shift to my knees? I just kind of roll out my ankles after the child pose, okay? And actually, this is probably going to be our most active, is the down dog. Usually in yoga, down dog is like a resting pose, but I know for a lot of us, it's not there yet. So whenever you're ready, a short down dog, just about 30 seconds here, just to get into your calves and feet a little bit. We have to have postures where we stretch your ankles, front and back, and your feet. And down dog is just fantastic for that. Gets the head below the heart, all right? Last few moments, a little bit more of a feel-good dog. Don't forget your breath work. Soften the back of your neck. All right, yogis. So I'm not going to hold you too long. I know it's a tough pose. We're going to take it down to the knees and swing our legs around the seated, but you're going to have to set up your props here. Now, this is one of the only postures we're going to repeat so far. We did this the first week, restorative practice 1. This is the 3rd week. You see how I have my block set about 6-8 inches, and then boom, bolster. So this is a twist hold. Now, another nice way to do this is just 2 bolsters, okay? Or, one bolster on the floor if you're quite flexible and it's not going to be too intense. Now, this is called the restorative twist. Some people call it the Kundalini twist. So I'm going to sit here with my back up against the bolster. We have to be kind of resilient and looking to make this comfortable, okay? Because a lot of times I teach this in big groups and you need to see the position some people are in. It's like, ooh, that looks really uncomfortable, right? Comfort is key for restorative. So feet wide, knees go left, okay? So I scooch my hips around, my legs stay in the same. You see this? And I turn around. Now my legs are still here. You see this? See how they're wide? And I went like this, and then I turned around like if my bolster was behind me. So again, I turn around. And now here's the thing, guys. I want the bolster underneath my abdomen, ribs, and chest and head. So for less flexible people, this might be good. Like it's a lifted bolster. It's a little too much for me. It's actually less comfortable than if I go here. See, that's where it's going to be a little different, okay? So I'm going to lay here. Now, you can see my top leg wants to go back a little bit. That's where I'm pushing it. My front knee just gets comfortable. And then what do, guys? I get more comfortable on my bolster. See how my belly button's here. My belly button is on the bolster. That's how low this bolster is, guys, okay? Now, to make this easier, I had you guys twist left, right? So your knees went left. So your left ear would be down. If you want a lot more, you turn your head to the opposite side. You're going to feel a much bigger stretch. Try to relax your arms. It's a 3-minute hold per side, starting now. Here's where we go into the belly breath a little bit more. So a nice slow inhale in your nose, feeling your abdominal area kind of spread, your lower back, and even side waist. And then you exhale. So you're breathing as the postures kind of change where they're affecting you, the breath does too. That's called directional breathing. Every posture has directional breathing cues and potential, whether it's to make certain muscles stronger, softer, relaxed, more clear and intelligent, that muscle intelligence we're always working on. So remember that, yogis. Breathe into your tightness. Got about another 2 minutes here. Let your body rest. It's okay to shift a little as you get into this. It's a learning process to find that sweet spot. There's a lot of adjusting and exploring these, in these classes. Eventually, try to find a space where you can really go into a trance. This class is an excellent time to add meditation practices we're working on Sunday. Remember the collective? A lot of times when I practice yoga, I go into these deep kind of energy creating states and I send it to people, places, thoughts, the collective, or I visualize stuff I'm working on manifesting. Or work on giving my mind a rest. It depends on what I need. Now, a little bit shorter because it's a twist. We're going to slowly start to exit. You might want to sit up and just kind of, shake it out a little bit. We want a lot of that kind of, I call it true release. I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of like you just sit up, and I also say like reduce sensations, kind of neutralize and cleanse your physical palate. Those are all ways to just suggest, some of this, right? Whatever it is, just kind of be in the body, okay? And then we do our second side, right? So knees right, left thigh back, turn around, abdomen. We all have different ribs, and this is a firm bolster, it's called. Really firm. It's like an old style one. This is a soft bolster, the kind of newer, cheaper ones. They actually both do good things. Just depends on what you need it for. Again, right ear on the mat is easier. If my knee's not right, more challenging would be left ear, okay? And I'm starting the clock right now, guys. Make sure you're comfortable. It's okay to fidget a lot. Big bed pillows actually work really good instead of bolsters here, because they're longer. If you have those kind of decorative, really long pillows that we never ever use. All right, guys, just meditate. What are you working on in your life? Reflecting, contemplating, thinking about anything that's on your mind, okay? Enjoy it.
Ideally, you still got, 40 seconds here on my timer, but you can stay longer. I'd prefer you to adapt the practice to your needs because we're going to go through a kind of well-rounded practice, but where's your body currently need the energy, the release, make it personal, whether it's uncomfortable power practice, strengthening, or restful or gentle or stretch. Open to me, but the practice is really coming through you. Okay? That in itself is a practice within our class. Now, you got last 10 seconds, but some of you took a little longer to get in. Eventually, when you feel content with it, we sit up, and shake it out. Right? We want this kind of free will in the practice. So listen, guys, you're gonna, meet me up top here in seated position, and we have a big forward bend stretch now. It's our biggest hamstring stretch. We're just gonna get it done. Now, the 2 weeks ago, we did this one where our legs were together and we stacked up props, bent our knees, maybe even a blanket or bolster could go underneath knees. Let me just show you, right? Because there's a lot of variations. Look at this. Block. Some people love this, right? If you're flexible, you're here maybe. Some people prefer this stretch like this. Look. I mean, that feels that feels actually really good. Because I'm not necessarily it's not like stretch class, like let's increase range. It's more like, let's just give the body an opening and kind of let it release, right? Now, there is another version. I'll give you the option. You get one forward bend here, so you can't do them both, legs wide. Here's where people might be more restricted, but again, bending the knees is always gonna make this easier on your back, on your spine. So look at that, boom, right? Now, I could do, blocks. So I'm trying to get you into a supported forward bend. I don't want you to be overstrained, so I know this can be tough. Now, if this is really tough for us guys, I suggest knees more together, knees bent, right? If it's really, really tight, you sit up against the wall, and that's how it really starts, right? You're just kind of here. I do have the bolster under my knees, okay? I'm getting my lower back up against the floor, and I'm starting to go forward. And it's a restorative meditation, right? We don't need to go flexible work. This is already a forward bend, okay? A little bit longer here, about another 4.5 minutes. Close your eyes, a meditation. Now maybe breathing into your upper back, okay? So you can see the breath is kind of moving around. In the twist, it was more in the lower body, the abdomen, waist, lower back. Now the breath is a little bit more posterior body and upper. Try to soften your eyes. Try to keep becoming more subtle with how you release and relax. Once the big muscles relax, that little fidgeting, that's next. And then it's the subtle jaw, more subtle, the eyes and the cheeks. Eventually, it's even more of the breath. And then it's more of the thoughts. Okay.
Another option people do in Iyengar is this, guys. Okay, so you can see
It's from chair yoga, but it's also used in restorative for people who are a little less flexible and the bolsters don't lift as high. Okay, I'm using a kitchen table chair here. And I'm just chilling. I'm not going super flexible. As you hold the pose, inefficiencies or lack of awareness will become more aware. So I notice I'm kind of hunching, and what I did is I just for a moment kind of lengthened my heels. It's not really a fidget, it's just to evolve how I'm holding the position. I kind of sat up taller and lengthened my spine and my legs, and then I relax again. I do want you to relax and be still, but not rigid. If the movement has a purpose to enhance the quality and the intelligence of the form, I want you to move and adjust. Stay with it, guys. Okay, now in your last few seconds here, again, a moment to kind of release, windshield wipe your knees, lean back a little bit. We will do a counter pose now. Remember that the class I'm presenting is only like half the equation. To remember to breathe, to remember to observe yourself. That's like the most valuable part, all right? The opportunity as we slow down, we get different perspective and insight, okay? And that's really the good stuff. Now, let me show you guys. Now, ideally, you have a bolster for this. A nice, people have like decorative pillows on their bed. I can't remember what they're called. I think there's a name for them, but they're like the big, long ones. They're like on top of your actual bed pillow. Those are the ones that are shaped like bolsters. They're long, much more narrow than they're long. It's like a bolster, right? So we're going to do a special type of restorative bridge. Now, we've done restorative bridge both classes in different ways, right? And tonight we're going to do a third different one. If you'll watch me for a moment, now listen, restorative bridge is where my hips are lifted. Now, you got to kind of play with this when you get in. You got to kind of widen your feet, slide the bolster between your ankles. Now listen, I want this bolster underneath your lower, but you got to play with this one, right? I'm going to show options. So I want the bolster underneath my lower back arch. So my upper and middle back are on the floor. You see where the bolster ends? It's right at the 12th rib. Okay, if you know your anatomy there. And then watch me here, guys. Two options. One is my legs can go wide or forward together,
Now, there's a lot of restorative yoga stuff we can't really do because of lack of equipment. Ideally, everyone would have 4 bolsters or even more 5 blankets, yoga blankets, right? Sandbags and weights. Now, another nice option is to bring the soles of the feet together on the bolster, okay? And my arms are now wide like this, okay? You can go a little bit more up, I just don't want them down here. I want them either wide or reaching back, somewhere in that space. Now, I'm getting comfortable here. My soles of the feet are together on the bolster. This is, you can see we're in the thick of class, all right? And we're trying to relax here. Now, if this is too much, simply turning your bolster to the side and you're here, okay? So my butt is here is our normal restorative bridge. We did this last week. But tonight I'm instructing where the bolster is long ways, starting in your lower back arch. You're going to try to feel that spot. Easier is to release your legs here. More. This is easiest. More. Most. Soles of the feet together, knees open. Arms wide for everyone. Right, in some classes they have you do movements here with the shoulders. But just try to relax. About 3 more minutes, please. If it ever gets too much with your inner thighs or you need to switch position, that's fine. We're not here to force our body to stay in positions. If anything and any doubt, just lay on your back. Sometimes restorative yoga is an hour of laying on your back, being guided through meditation, guided through breath work, and we're not doing anything really physical. And we will do that in this class one day. Now here I like to bring the breath into my lower back and into the front inner hip flexors and even inner thighs. The breath is traveling really low now. If your back hurts from extensions, back bends in the hips, it could be fixation, right? Mutation fixation, could be lumbar fixation, which would mean it's exactly probably what it needs. But if you have any recent acute injuries, herniations, bulging discs, that's a different story. Okay, last about 45 seconds here. Relax a little deeper.
Now, guys, if you want to hold longer, you can. It's a pretty good hold, right? Everything over 2 minutes is really where we're hitting the alpha benefit. So when you're done, you got to really, really slow, maybe bring your knees back together. That can be quite an intense inner thigh stretch. I saw quite a few is holding that the whole time. The more intense the position, the longer, the slower the exit, the more time in between to neutralize. So eventually we'll just meet on our back, no props under us. First time here, bringing your knees into your chest. It's called Apanasana. It's like maybe the main, like one of the physical healing yoga poses. It's kind of like child pose, but on your back, but a little bit more movement, kind of circling, rolling out ankles, anything that feels good for a moment. Okay, now tonight we are going to do the supported pigeon posture. Ideally, about 2 big pillows or bolsters are needed. For some people, more, but I think everyone in class tonight is capable with 2 pillows. So we're going to eventually make our way up to seated to roll to the side. Now, let me show you how this works. Basically, it's kind of like this here, guys. So I'm going to do the restorative pigeon, supported. See how I have one bolster out in front of me? And I have the other one kind of crossed. Now my leg is going to go here. My chest is going to go here. This is more like underneath my pelvis and hips, okay? So I take tabletop. I have to kind of lift and bring my right shin in front. Now, I can kind of slide my right heel underneath that bolster. So it's kind of even between my knee joint too. Again, I still do want to kind of crawl my hips back. All right. So this first bolster, I actually like to angle it a little bit more too. You kind of have to play with it, right? It's not going to be the same for everyone's body. All right. So play with the bolster here. Another nice version is, I put it right between the knee joint. You can see my foot's behind me there. It's in the knee joint as well. Okay. And then here I go. This one's kind of right up to the knee or to the inner shin here. And then I try to bring it under my abdomen. All right, and look at me even moving a little bit, making sure my knee is comfortable. And there we go. Now, most of us are just, let's just stay here for now, okay? First time doing this in this class, a much easier form of pigeon, but still getting a nice stretch. When you're really flexible, the shin can start to stay more parallel to the front edge of the mat. Not easy to see, but it's right along the mat here, the bolster here, and it's right to the shin, and then here I am. Even up top on the shin, the bolster is. Got another 2 minutes, yogis. Again, a little bit shorter of a pose, 3 minutes probably total, per side. Directional hip breathing. Bring the breath into that outer right hip. This glute is pulling away from the sacrum, that big heart-shaped bone in the lower back, the pelvis. Try to bring that breath even down there, lowest part of your lower back. Oh, those look perfect, Lori. I think she's taking apart her couch. Another nice thing to add now here in the end of practice is some breath holds. If you haven't added that on your own, a reminder, big inhale, abdomen, ribs, chest all spread, and then you kind of hold, exhale. One of these restorative practices, we will do breath holds the entire practice. All right. We'll give it a few more weeks before we do that though. That's exit position when you're ready. Shake it out, please. Does everyone feel that? Feels pretty good. It's a pretty intense stretch, though, right? Third week, we're getting a little bit more into it here. So you just shake that out. I like to even like rub my knee. This is the class where I would add extra like self massage. We will do a week with heavy and self massage, but anything that's kind of noticed was irritated, give a little love. The hands have such healing powers. I always do like prayer, like a lot of times I massage people, right? Last night I massaged a husband and wife, and I like pray the whole time. And I like bless certain body parts and then themselves. And that's like the old secret, right? Bless everything, your food, and bless others. All right, now second side, when you're ready. That went a little bit longer. I started to daydream a little. So, you're gonna get into it. And remember to crawl that foot back. There's a lot of adjusting. And just enjoy it, yogis. All right? Try to relax. Go about 4 minutes here, okay? Directional breathing is a little bit more the sacral area. And obviously the legs. So like a little bit more that first and second chakra if we're getting a little bit more energetic work. One of these nights we will combine meditative practices when we repeat these. As we stretch, bring energy and awareness, open in these first chakras, it would be things like what's the energies that block these areas? And the yogis say, fear is one of the main ones going to block your root chakra, your identity, your survival. And then another one would be the second chakra, would be a little bit more insecurity, over desiring, over obsessed with pleasure. We want to look at our desires in the second chakra. We'll get into that another night, though. you guys, yeah, some of you are starting to exit. Whenever you're kind of done on that side, you release and you kind of neutralize and just feel out your body. And I think, guys, I was going to do the strap stuff. I think we're going to skip it. Planned a little too much here, and so I think what we're going to do is restorative fish and then legs up the wall. So 2 more postures. Okay, if you had your heart set on doing the, we did inner thighs, posterior, maybe lacking a little bit of the front thighs, but we did the restorative bridge for the hip flexors. So I think maybe restorative fish, it's just one of my favorites. It's hard to kind of substitute. We could try it in another way that we haven't really done yet. It is the big supported seat. So again, you would want your knees probably here in a bolster, and then it's kind of along the spine. So we did the one where it was this way, right? So if that was one of the weeks. Now this is a nice version here, just kind of on the bolster. If you want to do your block variation, you can. Now my butt's on the floor. Earlier in restorative bridge, my hips were off the floor. Okay, and here I am, bolster under my knees, arms again wide. Just this is like a postural correction. This arms wide. We do this in like locust, and we have our arms wide pulling back, and some other postures we do. And here's that passive form with the arms going wide. You do this in warrior 2 and in side plank, but here's those arms wide, okay? So yogis, if there's other things you want to do, it's okay. It's a restorative practice. We're just together. If you want to hold your legs up for 10 minutes, that's awesome. Do it. If you want to put a block under your head or instead under your chest here, that's fine. Something comfortable. Another good 4 minutes or so, okay? My favorite position for doing an isolated belly breath. As you inhale, you feel your abdomen lift and spread. As you exhale, it kind of releases lower. Close your eyes, enjoy it, please.
Now take your time, yogis. Use your forearms, core, either roll to the side, sit up, remove your bolsters. Now our final pose of class is basically our Shavasana as well, okay? You know, there are easier versions where I'm kind of like this, 2 bolsters or bolster on blocks, and I just kind of elevate my legs a little bit. Okay, there's this. That's like easiest. Or something like this with bolster elevated. Another easy position, legs elevated, right? That's all it is. More here, a lot more is where I put the bolster underneath my pelvis, just like restorative bridge. So now my pelvis is inverted. See that? Bolster is underneath my hips. That lifts the pelvis up higher than the chest. That's a next level inversion. Most would be here. It's not really gentle yoga probably for most restorative though, guys. I don't want your last posture to be like you're in most intense. So each pose we keep relaxing deeper. We're getting deeper into the neural shift, okay? But eventually, if this was like super easy for you, it's inversion to hold end practice, okay? So you push through your feet, hands on your hips, and you go here. But most of us will strain way too hard. So I'd rather have you here. Some people like to use their strap to tie a loop around their feet so they don't spread out. We're gonna do 5 minutes, yogis. Final hold. Legs up. Relax. And as we end practice, I want you to contemplate on this idea. Something very practical everyone can do to change their life in an undescribable way. If you want to take your health serious, it is in sleep. Sleep is the main thing, is where inflammation and oxidation of your cells is reduced. It's not alkaline water, even though that's also very important, something like that. If you change your sleep, make it way more quality, not only will you need much less, it will change every aspect of your life. We are training our bodies to shift into rest. Everything is memory, everything we can do, whether it's strength, education, endurance, it's all a teaching of the body and the mind. So this hour a week, we are really trained to enhance our body's ability to rejuvenate, regenerate, cleanse, detox, re-energize. So you got last 3 to 4 minutes, final pose. No, you take your time, right? You finish up your last pose at your own pace and you shake it out a little bit. So going, I'm really happy we started this class, yogis. Going forward, we will mix in some other modalities. We will do a mantra night where we will, hum and make certain sounds to vibrate our body. Sound therapy sounds like number 4 on the list as far as affecting our well-being. It's up for debate, but we're going to do things like that. I am going to do some meditation techniques in this class as well going forward. All right, so there was our first 3 weeks. And, if you have any thoughts and, feedback, I'd like to hear your opinions. I think maybe we'll keep this class at 5. Seems like more people can make it. But, let me hear your thoughts in emails. And I really like to hear from you guys, all right? Tradition yoga, we do. Find that humility, find that gratitude, a mantra, a prayer. And yogis, thank you so much for being here. Have a good rest of your Friday night. All classes are scheduled for